Muggsy Bogues overpacks it.
Muggsy underneath, slam.
Third steal of the game for the Hornets. Muggsy will get a bunny.
Sure, we've seen our fair share of short players in the league. Nate Robinson, Barea, you name it. But Muggsy Bogues, he took being vertically challenged to a whole new level. You won't believe how he not only survived, but thrived in a league of giants. Today, we unravel the story of a man who stood at 5'3", but played with the heart of a giant. We won't just tell you Muggsy Bogues' story. We'll let NBA legends and players explain how special he was. Forget the underdog narrative, because according to Bogues, it was all about confidence, skills, and hometown grit that propelled him to NBA stardom. Standing at just 5'3", he defied the odds and made an indelible mark on the league. If you think his height was the only thing that made him special, well, you're in for a surprise. Muggsy Bogues wasn't a sideshow attraction. He was a starting point guard for playoff caliber Charlotte Hornets teams, boasting an impressive 14-season tenure in the NBA. Even more impressive, even after 20 years, Bogues still holds records for assists and steals. Opponents dreaded facing him, and teammates revered him as a leader and playmaker. But how did he thrive in an era where size seemed to dominate the league? The legend begins. Now, before the NBA, Muggsy was already making waves on the basketball court, long before he was the 12th overall pick in the 1987 NBA draft. He was a star in the making. Bogues was a starting point guard for what is still considered the greatest high school team in U.S. history, the streets of Baltimore, where he earned his famous nickname, Muggsy, and where the legend began. He led the Lawrence Dunbar Poets, a team that boasted 5 future NBA players from the same Baltimore neighborhood: Gary Grant, David Wingate, Reggie Lewis, Reggie Williams, and Bogues. The squad was so deep that even a future all-star like Reggie Lewis couldn't crack the starting lineup. From 1981 to 1983, the Poets achieved the impossible, going 59-0 and clinching the national championship in 1983. Their story was so extraordinary that it became the subject of an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary called Baltimore Boys. Scouts couldn't help but notice Bogues on the court. He was the shortest player, but had lightning quick ball handling skills and a knack for stealing the ball against all odds. Muggsy then went to Wake Forest, showcasing his talent as a 3-year starter and earning all ACC honors. In a league filled with talent, he outshone Duke's Tommy Amaker to secure a spot on the prestigious first team. The Washington Bullets picked him in the first round. This caused a stir because they paired the shortest NBA player with the tallest at the time, Muggsy Bogues, who stood at 7 feet 7 inches tall. Many raised eyebrows at this choice, given Bogues' stature. To put it in perspective, when he joined the NBA, players were about 6'7" tall. Isaiah Thomas, the shortest player in recent years, was still 6 inches taller than him. But any doubts about Bogues were shattered as he embarked on a remarkable 14-year career in the NBA. While he may not have been a superstar, he was a player feared by opponents and respected by teammates. Bogues was a game changer. It's not just us saying it. It's the legends and players who shared the court with him. Imagine being so good that you make a fellow NBA star rethink his entire position on the court. That's exactly what Bogues did to Steve Smith. Smith, a talented point guard, had dreams of emulating Magic Johnson, but Bogues, with his relentless full-court pressure, made Smith's life a living nightmare. He recalled, "Muggsy Bogues made me change my position. Picking me up 94 feet, he turned me around and around. He said, 'You're not going to play point guard for long.' And after about a year and a half, Muggsy kept looking at me smiling every time we would play. He changed me from a point guard to a shooting guard." But despite never snagging an all-star title, Bogues' incredible journey endeared him to fans across the globe. He consistently started games throughout his career. Even though he never became an all-star, his charm and ability to triumph against all odds made him popular in the NBA in the 1990s. Now, ever wonder what makes a great shooter? Ask Glenn Rice, an all-NBA player who credits Muggsy for his success. Those pinpoint passes from Bogues, they were Rice's golden ticket to extra shots and a smoother game. Glenn recognized the invaluable role Bogues played in his career. He stated, "I owe a lot to Muggsy because Muggsy gave me an opportunity to go out there and get extra shots. Because if it wasn't for his pinpoint passes, it probably would have been a little more of a struggle." Doc Rivers, another former NBA star, weighed in on the Muggsy Bogues experience. Handling the ball against Bogues was nothing short of mission impossible. Rivers described it, saying, "By the time you put it down on, you reach for it, but Muggsy had it and was gone." In the chaos of the game, you need a leader. Dale Curry, a scoring legend for the Charlotte Hornets, found that in Muggsy Bogues. Dale was the franchise's scoring leader for nearly 20 years before Kemba Walker passed him on the team's all-time list. Curry said, "All of us did whatever Muggsy said on the floor. He was our general. We trusted him with the ball. The unsung hero." Now, in the world of basketball, it's often the high-scoring players who hog the spotlight and the accolades. But Muggsy was the engine that kept the Charlotte Hornets running smoothly. His speed, ball handling, and pinpoint accuracy with passes put everything into motion. He might not have always been the one racking up the points, but his impact on the game was immeasurable. Sure, Muggsy's triumphant journey is well known, but let's not overlook the extraordinary skills he possessed on the court. We're talking about the safest hands to ever grace an NBA basketball. I know, it's a big claim, but there's solid data to back it up. Bogues possessed a skill that often flies under the radar, his incredible passing ability. But we're not just talking about assists here. We're talking about a stat that measures a player's ball control, the assist/turnover ratio. It's a key indicator of how well a player can handle the ball without giving it away. An assist-turnover ratio of 4.5, for example, describes a player who averages 4.5 assists for every turnover they commit. Bogues boasts an astonishing career assist-turnover ratio of 4.69. To put that in perspective, that's the highest among the NBA's top 100 leaders in career assists. The only other player even close is Chris Paul, with an assist-turnover ratio about 4.0. But Bogues still reigns supreme, holding this record, even if we expand the list to the top 200, 300, or 400 players in career assists. Bogues takes immense pride in his record. For him, it's all about taking care of the basketball and ensuring that his team has every opportunity to score. As he puts it, as a point guard, it's your responsibility to take care of the basketball. Now, until recently, Muggsy held the NBA record for the most games with at least 10 assists and 0 turnovers. We don't have a catchy nickname for this stat, like triple-double or Maddox. But maybe we should start calling it a Muggsy, because Muggsy has dominated this category for years. Beyond the numbers. We all know that stats don't always paint the whole picture. The beauty of the shot goes beyond Michael Jordan's scoring titles. Similarly, Bogues' greatness can't be fully captured by stats. His career is studded with moments that define his unique prowess on the court. And speaking of moments, let's rewind to the 1995 playoffs and one of Muggsy's signature plays. The underdog in stature was going up against the legend, Michael Jordan. During the 1995 playoffs, Bogues displayed defensive brilliance against his airness. The play ended strangely with a confusing illegal defense call. But right before the whistle, Bogues cleanly stripped the ball from Jordan. This play ignited debates, but for Bogues, there's no debate at all. It was undoubtedly a clean strip, a balanced stat line. Bogues' stats speaks volumes about his versatility. In 889 career games, he averaged 7.7 points and 7.6 assists per game. Let that sink in. For 14 seasons in the NBA, he consistently contributed on both ends of the floor. Even during his stint as a reserve with the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors, he continued to make an impact. Now, let's zero in on his best season, 1993-94. During this incredible year, Bogues averaged a double-double with 10.8 points and 10.1 assists per game for the Hornets. But what set the season apart is his impressive 47.1% shooting from the floor. Former teammate Alonzo Mourning remembers how Bogues fearlessly went into the paint. He didn't let his size stop him from making amazing plays. His court vision was second to none, making him an absolute joy to play alongside. Now, there's an ongoing debate about whether Muggsy Bogues should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, while his one-dimensional contemporary, Ben Wallace, secured a spot. Bogues' chances are uncertain, but here's the undeniable truth. For more than a decade, he was an NBA player, pure and simple. His peers, the players who faced him, will be the first to testify to that fact. Bogues' journey from the streets of Baltimore to the pinnacle of the NBA is nothing short of inspirational. He proved that size doesn't determine success. Heart, determination, and an unparalleled work ethic do. Remember, in the world of basketball, there's always room for those who refuse to be defined by limitations. And hey, if you want more NBA scoop, you know what to do. Tap that play button for our next video on the real reason behind Chris Paul's game-changing trade. It's a story you don't want to miss. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.